Continuing on with the Motorola 5A7A radio. As I said I was going to do in the last video, I installed the braid Of course, I soldered these pins here, big glob of solder. That's firmed it up. Yes, this is a plastic. It did melt, it did soften up, but after I soldered it, got it good and hot, I let it cool down, didn't touch it, and it's nice and firm now. Then what I had to do, somebody had suggested, get on camera here, that I should have taken and dipped this in Evaporust. There's no way you can do that. They riveted in. In other words, instead of doing this, putting this in Evaporust or putting deoxide on it, you wouldn't get a good connection anyways on this because it's all rusted. You may get some of the rust out, but it'll never make a good electrical connection. Now, if you look at this, this is metal, this is aluminum here, it goes right across, okay? Yes, I drilled a hole right through it. And then I got the braid going through it and heat shrink tubing. Insulating it. It comes out to the other side over here. Heat shrink, and then it is soldered to this ball of solder that I used to firm this up. So this is soldering wick. Worked very well. So now when I put an ohm meter across here to here, I get 3 ohms DC on this coil. Before I put the braid in, I was getting intermittent connections. And actually, before I put the braid in and after I soldered these pins solid so they wouldn't move, I lost all connection to the coil. So something changed in here. But if you see what I had to drill, look down in here, this is the metal trim that goes all the way around this here, okay? So I have to drill through this, and I don't know, the damn drill bits I have must be Harbor Freight junk or some cheap things, because it took me 5 minutes to drill through this damn thing here. And this is steel here. This is steel. Okay? So I had to drill through this and this, and then the insulating plastic here, whatever that is, and came out over here to put the braid in. So it's not the prettiest thing, and I don't know what I'm going to do on the other radio, but one radio at a time. So the other option would have been to bring the braid to the top of the hinge so you can see daylight through it, closest to the plastic part here, and come out the top so it don't short out. I'd have to drill a hole here, which would look like hell, so the braid would come down through here, over here, through here, and it'd have to be insulated here so it don't short out because I'm using braid. Yes, I could use stranded wire, insulated wire, but there's only so many times you can open and close this thing before that'll break off, you know, metal fatigue. So if I drill through here, that was the other option I was going to do, I'd be coming out on this side right in here, and then I would come out with the braid, and then with insulation, and going over to here. So it would be the same thing. It's just that it wouldn't be noticeable there. Instead of having these, as this thing is closed, okay, you got a cover on here, okay? You got these two little nipples coming out, see, with a solder wick is insulated with the shrink tubing right there. You're going to see these two things in a little braid. So when you put the cover on, hang on a minute, and you're looking at the radio this way as the cover's closed, yes, it's noticeable. But it's less noticeable when the cover's open and you're using the radio. So it's not a very pretty thing. But you're never going to make electrical connections on these hinges no matter what you do to them. The only way you could probably is to replace them. Now, they're plainly evident here that these are riveted in the plastic. So you're not going to get those out without destroying the plastic. Yes, I could drill these out. But then I'd have to have screws coming through. Small screws, like maybe 440 or something like that, coming through here. That wouldn't look too good either. So the DC resistance of this coil is 3 ohms. It's actually 2.9 ohms by my digital meter, measuring from this point to this point, with the ohm meter leads directly on it. Then when I put the extensions, because you got some resistance in here, and when I put the extensions on to make the final test, it was exactly 3 ohms. So yeah, so all intents and purposes, this coil is 3 ohms DC. So that is what I had to do. Now, of course, this is held in with tiny, tiny screws, which I put away. This is a latching mechanism that closes the cover, holds it down. So unless I can find a better way on the other radio, which has a broken hinge at this point here, which has to be fixed, and it has been fixed, I guess, once before by someone else. So I would have to figure out what I can put in here on the broken one. And I don't know of anything to do other than just put a piece of plastic cut out for this and put a piece of plastic over the top of this and glue it down and hope that that's going to hold. I have Scotch tape here to keep the loose wire down into place here. Continuing on with this radio, the rider's service manual, which one of my viewers very kindly gave me the link to. It's on Nostalgia. The quality of the schematic isn't too good, but he mentioned about what page to look for in removing the speaker. And you remove the 1S5 tube and you loosen this screw right here, which I've already started loosening. And I believe the viewer is, and don't quote me, because I'm going from memory, and memory is not very good, so I apologize if I give the wrong person credit. I think it's he's the master. I loosened it already. There's a detailed notation as to how to remove the speaker, including how to do other parts of the disassembly, including removing the tuning capacitor if you need to. So that is what I'm going to attempt to do now off camera. I'm going to remove the speaker, and supposedly the speaker plugs in with connectors similar to this, from what I have read. So if that's the case, I can get that speaker out. That will enable me to maybe recap this a lot better. So I'm going to do all that off camera. I'll be back. So removing that screw, which is right here. All right. We don't want to lose that. That over here. And unplugging one terminal. The rest of the frame is grounded. You see there's no connection here. So it's bonded electrically by bolting this in. And I knew it was somehow fastened by the way of the magnet, which is a hole right here, threaded hole. But I didn't know where the screw was. So thank you to that viewer for giving me the link to the service manual for the this model radio by way of Rider's service manual on Nostalgia. So it was a little difficult to download it from Nostalgia because you're supposed to click on several different icons, and the icons were squeezed down like not even a 1/4 inch high and about 2 inches long. They were all distorted. So I had to guess. I clicked on the left-hand one and I was able to download it. So for some reason, Nostalgia's download buttons are distorted on my browser. I don't know, I use Chrome, but whatever. Anyways, we got it. So we'll pull this out off camera because I can't hold this and do that too. We get this out of the way and I'll be right back. Now I can get at these two caps. And here's where the speaker was mounted, right where my finger's pointing. See right there? That's where that screw went. So now this will be very easy to get out. Of course, the wires are still going into places that are okay, I got scared there for a minute. I thought I broke a wire off, but no, that is the wire for the electrolytic. Now I might be able to neaten that up if I can find where that goes. And it looks like it goes down into here. So I could probably neaten that up somehow, but I don't have enough terminals here to, this is the positive side right here. I don't have enough, an extra terminal to do that, and I can't use this one because this is occupied already. Well, we'll worry about that later. Right now, we can start doing some cap work, and we still have to locate the across the line cap, which I don't know where it is right now. But one thing I want to do, I got to lubricate this. I thought I oiled this. What I usually do on every radio I get, I always put some oil in here on every radio I get. That's the first thing I do when I pull the cabinet, the chassis out of the cabinet. So we got to do that because that turns, I mean, it shouldn't be turning this hard. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, the tuning cap works a lot easier now. I sprayed some WD-40 in here, not WD-40, deoxit. Deoxit in here, and I put the machine oil in here. I usually put a little lubriplate too. That's the white grease, lithium grease, but it turns pretty good. I'll probably shoot some of that in there too, because the ball bearings on these things are usually dry, and if there is any grease, it's hardened. So you do need to, after all these years, you do need to freshen it up a little bit. So we've got that taken care of, and it looks to me like it's not going to be too bad of a job recapping this. Now that I got that speaker out. So that is what we will probably do. I want to investigate these two caps over here, which is the ones that I think one of them is the Costa line cap, but I'm not 100% sure of that. Because the schematic, I got to get the SAMs out. I have the original. And as I said, number 7 shows in here somewhere, but that is probably one of these here. This is the wire that goes to the speaker. Of course, it's off the secondary of the audio output transformer, and like all secondaries of audio output transformers, they use solid wire. Now, we've got a separation here, and that's just the way it is. The connector's on here, but we got a bare area here, so off camera I'm going to put a little heat shrink on that. I just hope this don't break off due to flexing, but it goes down to the audio output transformer and goes down into here, and it comes out the output transformer. So it's solid wire all the way through, of course, so not much I can do about that, but I do want to try to prevent this from breaking off. So I'm going to put a little piece of heat shrink on it, and I'll be right back. Okay, I got that wire taken care of. Now, I think I located the Costa line cap. This is a 0.05. It goes to the negative, the common negative, but I can't tell where this goes. It probably goes up into here. I keep banging the damn camera. But that was C7. This is supposed to be C10, but that looks like a coil. And I hope that's not a wax cap, because that would be a job trying to wind that coil onto a smaller diameter yellow new modern capacitor. But number 10, which is just to the left of the 7 right there, shows in that, about in that area. I really should get the SAMs out, the original copy. It probably would show better. That would be right there. And there's C10 right there. So, according to this, it's two separate things. Looks like a 0.02. Yeah, 0.02, right? I can't reach my thumb over there. But right there. So C10 is O2. It goes to chassis. That denotes chassis. So it's tied to 3.3 meg, I believe, and up here. So it's it's in series. All right, this is the coil. Really need to get my hand in there, and I know what's going to happen. I'm going to be banging the camera again. So, it appears to be a coil around a O2 capacitor. So we know that this here is the line across the line cap. Now, the safety caps I got from Sal's, the little square yellow ones, they have very, very, very short leads on them. So I have to cut here short and put it in this position here. But right now, we're disconnecting too many things here. Way too many things here. So I think it'd probably be better if I start working up here and getting some room, because I'm not sure where this goes. It goes up into here, and it probably goes right, my finger is pointing right there. I can see much better when I play the video back on the computer. But let me see if I can get at these caps here. I gotta study this really good off camera. I clipped out a .02 from this point here. And you see that wire right there? That's where the capacitor went, and went down here and then onto the 2-pin. As I told you before, I never try to solder to a 2-pin unless it's like a new tube socket. But with connections on there, you don't do that. That's why I use hook and pinch. So we're going to hook and pinch onto this wire. After we take some of the insulation off of this so we can put a hook in it. And at this end, it goes right here where my finger's pointing. Right there. But so does 2 or 3 other caps. Okay, as you can see where I just pointed, I pulled off the spaghetti tubing. We're going to cut that a little short. We're going to put a hook in it. And we're going to, damn battery's going out on the camera. Hang on a minute. Okay, we got a fresh battery in here. Because there is 2 other capacitors on here, and there's no way I'm going to try to clean that terminal out. You're too close to these other wires. Now, true, I could take, instead of going to this terminal, this wire here, you see where I cut it off? That's one end of the O2, and the other end goes to this bare wire here, which I took the sleeving off of. All right, so if I could just as easily take that O2 and come down here and bring it over to here, but it's best to leave the lead dressing the same as when they made the radio. So that cap was up here where my finger is pointing. So the caps are going to have to stay in this area here. This across the line, I just pulled it out so I can trace it out here. But there's 3 caps, counting the one I took out of here, that has got to be back in the same area. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put the new capacitor in which case it's a .02. Which is right here. I can't read that at all. I have to have a magnifying, so it could be upside down, but take my word for it, that's an O2. So we're going to put that in, and we'll be back. As I said in my earlier videos, I have to order some more caps when I am able to. Each radio, I have 2 of these radios. Each one takes 6 .02s or .022s. Here is a 022. I don't see anything on it. Okay, I had it upside down. I marked this after I checked it. So this is a 022. So we're going to use that in here. Okay, that'll save a little room. So we'll put that in there. And we're going to still hook and pinch it. And we'll bring it onto this lead here. And we'll try putting some heat shrink, slide it down onto here, so that when we make the hook, we can probably slide a larger piece of heat shrink over there and heat it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that or not. But let me get this in here and we'll be right back. Okay, the only way anyone can do this job is hook and pinch. You couldn't even use the coil method. It's an impossibility, and I never could do that anyways. What I did is I just put big hooks in them on the capacitor, small hooks on the leads that are coming up from the old component, and brought it through, pulled it through like threading a needle, and bend it up, pinched it as best I could, solder it, and then clip off the long lead. So as you can see, that capacitor sits in there nicely, and takes up a lot less room than this. And this is probably these are 100 volt rated capacitors. So that'll save one of the yellow ones. I don't have to use that, but I'm going to have to order more, and I have no choice. But I got so much to order that I'm going to do it all at once. Okay, so now we'll work on the rest of this here, and we'll join you in a minute. Okay, I got this tinned and a hook made here, and I got a hook made here, so we put the O2 on here. We'll go grab an O2. So that's 2.02 so far that are used in this area. As I said, this radio uses 6. So that's going to pretty well clean out a good majority of my O2 caps just on this one radio alone. Not the prettiest, but we'll trim them off after I solder them because they're just awkward. It's moving around all over the place. Because I have to put a magnifier up here. I got these glasses over here, and they're very helpful, but it's still not enough. Okay, we solder those, and then we'll trim them off and pinch them down a little bit again. This is how I do it, because it's the only way I can do it in crowded chassis. So we trim those ends off there. You can see how the solder really took good and solid. Nothing better. No, I can't do any better than this. There's no way I can get down into the chassis and risk losing connections or breaking 2 pins off or whatever. So this is the way it's going to be done. Well, I had no choice. I had to put some tape on it. I put it in the same place the other cap was, so it's sticking up high, but there's nothing I can do about it. Hope I can get that shield on. If I can't, I'll leave it off, that's all. Well, I ain't gonna worry about it. I'm going to end this video here. It's quite long as always, and I get it into the computer, I find out that the damn thing is 5 and 6 gigabytes long. It's unreal. I'm going to place the cluster line cap, and I'm not going to do any more because it's sticking up too high. When I get to the other radio, I am not going to recap it. All I'm going to do is put new electrolytics in it and the safety cap, and that's as far as I'm going with it. If it don't work, it don't work. It'd just be a shelf queen. Because every time I try to move something like this, even this one, it's going to stick way up in the air. And I'm not going to be able to get the plate on. As it is now, that cap is sticking up and I can't push it down any more than that. So I'm going to end it now before I get aggravated here. Kind of sorry I started this. I should know I can't do these things. It's just too damn small. I got to have 100 hands to hold the magnifier and get the stuff just in the right place. I don't know. I had a big a much larger .02 that sat right in here, was this size. But yet this one here, sticking up, and the other one was down. If I can get more like this, then I could probably push it down in there. But I got it, because of my hook and pinch method, I couldn't use heat shrink tubing. Could not possibly get it in there. So the best thing to do is to just maybe get a smaller O2 like I got here, but they only have one. So that would mean I'd have to put an order in for those for cells too. They're physically smaller, and then I could probably do something, but this is the way I'm going to have to do it. It's the only way I can do it. Otherwise, this radio don't get recapped. I'm not even going to touch this one. This one over here, not a problem. I can get that. I know that. We're trying to do the hard ones first. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. More to come. I don't know when. Take care, everybody.